So today we're looking at the remaining right hand exercises on open strings. So these are arpeggio patterns number 72 all the way to 100. So make sure that you've already watched the previous videos. And for examples, we're using exercises from my new technique book, but you can watch these videos for free and learn from the tips and the ideas that I'm going to talk about with each pattern. So just watch the video for free, but if you want to pick up the book, there's a link for that under the video. So make sure you've watched all the previous open string exercises, which went through like scale patterns, arpeggios, a video just on planting, so the 3 ways of planting, which is a way of practicing arpeggios and a way of getting more secure and working on speed and accuracy. So make sure you've watched those videos before doing these ones. But I will talk a little bit about planting, but I'm not going to explain it much because there's so many exercises to get through. So number 72 to 83 focus on 2-part arpeggios. So clearly you want to have practiced one, single voice arpeggio patterns before moving into 2-part arpeggio patterns. It just makes sense to get good at single voice stuff before doing multiple voices, right? What's there to say about these ones? These are some of my favorite exercises because they deal with awkward string crossings, and also just classical guitar repertoire uses melody and bass so often that this is what real classical guitar playing or fingerstyle playing is about. It's about playing 2 voices at the same time. So number 72 is essentially what we started with, I am patterned, like way back on number 1. If you remember that long ago. So exercise number 1 went like that. Exercise number 72 just adds the thumb into the mix. Sorry. You can practice this with a light rest stroke in the thumb if you want. Sorry. If you're a beginner player, you might find that very tough to do. So at first, just get used to the pattern with all free stroke. But then with a very light and relaxed rest stroke, you can do a rest stroke with the thumb, but free stroke with the fingers. It's a good thing to become secure at because having your thumb rested down like that is actually a pretty secure way of playing. It's really good practice for you. But you might find it tricky at first, so just give it time and make sure your rest stroke is nice and light. Number 73 just switches the pattern, right? Now it's MI. And then number 74 is MA. And then number 75 is AM, so we're just going through the combinations, right? In regards to planting, for these exercises, you would just plant groups, right? Like PA would plant, then M would plant, then PA would plant. The problem is it's going to make the top voice staccato. But you can still practice it for reasons of security. And make sure you go back and watch those planting exercises. But don't worry too much about the different types of planting. You can just do a little bit of planting like I suggested and not worry about it. Number 76 is great. So we're going to start dealing with awkward string crossings now. So I am on the upper strings, which is the normal pattern, right? And then you're just throwing in the thumb. You see this in every book from Pujol, now we're going to switch to an awkward string crossing. So M on the 3rd string and I on the 2nd string. But we're going to throw the thumb in there. Awkward string crossings are so annoying, but they're a reality. They come up in repertoire constantly because we just end up in these weird fingering situations where we have to do awkward string crossings. So we just have to do them. '78 is the same as 76, except we're using MA. And then 79 is the awkward string crossing, A on the third string, M on the second string. And again, the awkward string crossings are more difficult for sure, but they need to be practiced just as much and to the same speeds. So just keep track of your metronome speeds, and if one of these give you a lot of trouble, just strengthen the ones that give you trouble so that you even out your technique a little bit. You're not, just playing to your strengths, but you're identifying weaknesses and addressing them. Number 80 is the same as we've been doing. It starts with the normal string crossing with I, A. So I on the third string, A on the first string. And then 81 is M on the upper string, I on the lower string. 82 is the awkward string crossing, so I on the second string, M on the third string. And then 83 is A on the upper string, M on the lower. And then you get the awkward string crossings. Number 84 is M on the upper string, A on the lower string. Oops. So again, you can apply these with rest stroke in the thumb, which on the awkward string crossings is difficult. Well, if you're not used to it, it's difficult. But it's something you want to get used to. 85. 86, we suddenly have a triplet pattern, so it's getting used to playing P and I together while following through with M and A. And then the next few exercises just goes through the different combinations. So M on the downbeat, followed by AI. Sorry. Number 88 is A on the downbeat, followed by M, so A, M, I. Number 89 is A on the downbeat, followed by M, I. So again, you could use rest stroke thumb for all of these. Or not, but you want to get used to both. You can apply planting to any of these. Planting the fingers, then planting the next fingers, and then planting the outer fingers. So watch that planting video, of course. Number 90, M, I, A. Number 91, I, A, M. Number 92 is my favorite exercise, maybe of all of the open string exercises. It's the all-in-one arpeggio pattern. If you've seen the videos for my 20 favorite exercises, you'll see a different version of this one, but it's essentially the same right-hand pattern. This one combines all of the thumb finger combinations. So it combines PI and PM and PA into a continuous looping pattern. So it goes PI followed by MAMI. And then PM, PA, PM. I'll go through it really slowly saying the fingerings out loud, but we're just using the top 4 strings, right? And the fingers will always play, the thumb will always play on the 4th, I on the 3rd, M on the 2nd, and A on the 1st string. So PI, M, A, M, I, PM, It's essentially going I, M, A, M, I over and over and over in a continuous loop. So essentially you end up going through all the combinations and then you get to start it all over again. That's my favorite one because it covers so many different arpeggio patterns all just combined into one continuous loop. So it's kind of a cool one to if you don't have much time to practice, you can really get a lot of ground covered just with that one exercise. Number 93 to 96 are, again, expansion exercises. We talked about this before in other videos about the hand either expanding or contracting. And so that's what these exercises are doing, but they're doing them in block chords. So now the Giuliani exercises that we're going to do, the 120 Giuliani exercises, we'll go through lots of combinations like this, but these are on open strings, so it gives you a chance to work some of them out. First one is PI on those upper strings, and then the thumb is going to get closer to the fingers or further away. So if you play it with planting, you'll get a little bit of disconnect. If you do no planting, it'll be legato. You should practice them both ways. The next one, the I and the M finger are getting further apart. I on the fourth string, M on the first string. The next one, the I is on the fifth string, M is on the first string. That's pretty far apart. It feels weird, should feel weird, until you're used to it. Then we go through the process with I and A on number 94. Then I goes further away from the A finger. And the I finger's really far away. So weird, right? But really good practice for expanding your finger and just like loosening up your right hand, right? And getting it comfortable with some different stretches. And it does come up in the repertoire. And then number 95 is M and A. So we start with a little bit of expansion, M there and A further out. Sorry. Goes to the fourth string, so I find these ones pretty weird and awkward, but good to practice. And then M is on the fifth string, A is on the first string. Pretty awkward. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's not that it's hard, it's just like, it's weird, and you'll find accuracy goes way down. So if it does, use lots of planting, so you're on the string before you play. Secure your playing, and then switch to a more legato texture. Number 96 does a three-fingered expansion here, so the expansion is between A and M. And then between I and M. Get the idea. And then further extension, so I is separated from M and A. Feels very strange, but it's good to practice. And then M is going to be far away from A. I love the idea of practicing those extension exercises, though. I think it's really good for loosening up your hand. So the final couple of exercises, number 97 to 100, is kind of about cross-string trill patterns for developing the reflex-oriented movements of the right hand. So a cross-string trill, for those that don't know, you know when we do a trill on a single string, and we go like E, D sharp, E, D sharp with a trill, with a slur, you can do the same thing with the right hand by going. So it's kind of a rapid motion in the right hand. So number 97, the first one, we're just doing this on open strings, so we're not going to actually fret anything. That's what it would sound like, whoops, in real life or in a real trill. We're just doing the open strings. So we're going to go on the top two strings, we're going to go A, M, I, P. Don't worry about the rhythm, just do one rapid movement. It might seem weird to throw in that awkward string crossing, but doing A, M, I, P is a real natural right hand movement. It's what we use for tremolo and all sorts of things. So I recommend using it for the cross string trill as well. But again, we want it to be a reflex-oriented rapid movement. So you have to be relaxed and just do a rapid motion. The second part of the exercise, what we do is we're going to take our A finger and mute the top string. Sorry. So you can see I'm resting my A finger on the top string. When you do an actual cross string trill, that leaves the primary note, the D sharp in this case, ringing. You don't want both of those notes ringing. That's a gross sound there. Or you might not want them ringing. So we're going to rest our A finger on the string to mute it. So the first one without the mute, with the mute, so you just end up with that finger there. Number 98 does it on each string group. So the first two strings, then the next two, then the next two. Number 99 does a longer pattern, so we're going to go A, M, I, P, A, M, I, P. If you want to do the actual cross string trill, you can rest your fourth finger down. You can also do it in groups of 3. Practice very slowly at first. And then a little bit faster. And you can just practice getting faster and faster with it and doing continuous groups. So number 100, we're going to use the same reflex-oriented rapid alternation, but in the context of arpeggios. But we're going to start with a single string. So again, when we were doing those cross-string trills, we're thinking of them as one rapid movement, like all just one thing, not individual movements. So we'll do the same thing on a single string here. If you want to think of this as our tremolo practice, feel free to, but see how my hand, it almost feels like I'm just doing this. One movement instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 movements. Then we're going to switch the thumb down to the second string. Sorry, that's what it is. And then we're going to go A, M, I, P. Sorry. And then A, and then across the strings. So just like a rapid arpeggio. Which really does feel different than going like an actual arpeggio. It's just one thing. So one rapid movement. It's almost like, you know, when you roll a chord It's just one thing you do. You're not really thinking like each individual movement. The point of this page is not to practice your cross-string trills, it's to practice rapid reflex kind of movements. And just getting used to the idea of what that's like so that when you start practicing at higher speeds, your hand kind of has a context for that, or it knows what's capable when you're relaxed and just doing like a reflex-oriented motion. So the other arpeggios in the book are the Giuliani's 120 exercises, which is, we just did 100 open string exercises, then there's 120 Giuliani arpeggios, which is a lot, but they use chords, right, in the left hand, and they go through a whole bunch of different patterns that I didn't cover here, but I really liked the idea of doing 100 open string exercises to give your right hand a chance to figure some things out before moving into like the traditional classical style of Giuliani, which classical era style of Giuliani. So there'll be lots more videos for the book, so stay tuned.